This is
This holiday season, prepare to have the stuffing scared out of you. Thanksgiving. In the town of Plymouth, Massachusetts, the fourth Thursday in November is the most celebrated day of the year. The table is set. The festivities have begun. But uninvited guests have arrived. And this year, there will be no leftovers. Thanksgiving. White meat. Dark meat. All will be carved. Thanksgiving.
Come on, Judy, how about it?
Happy Thanksgiving, baby.
Thanksgiving.
Cool it, Judy. You're safe. Mommy's here. Split. Son of a bitch.
Arrive hungry.
Happy Thanksgiving, Grandma.
Leave stuff. From Rector Eli Roth. Thanksgiving. You'll come home for the holidays in a body bag.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody, from the Lights Out podcast here, brother. That's right. We are celebrating Thanksgiving the only way the Lights Out podcast knows how to do, by whipping up some human flesh, getting some cranberry sauce, beer drinking, and of course, killing people on Black Friday, brother. Because we're talking all about 2023's Eli Roth's Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
That's right, brother. We finally have another slasher holiday horror movie that actually came out this year. Just a couple weeks ago, actually. November 17th is when this movie came out, brother. And I'm super excited about talking about it because, you know, here on the Lights Out, I don't know if we've done like a recent movie before. You know what I mean?
No, I don't think we've done a recent one.
Yeah, I mean, we might have done like maybe some recent topics and stuff, but it's been a while since we've done like a recent movie. You know what I mean? Like we'll do some stuff like, cause you know, the Lights Out, everybody, for all of our new listeners, we're like a side piece, brother. We're like the cranberry dish, you know what I mean? To the Retro Blood podcast, which is our main one, which is mostly stuck in the 80s. You know, the Lights Out over here, we kind of do whatever. You know what I mean? We come on here, we drink some beer, we talk about stuff that's not particularly in the 80s. They're all over.
No rules.
No rules, brother. We just go hardcore out over here.
Straight hardcore match on this one.
Yeah, and this one is like super fun to talk about because I knew Eli Roth was trying to make this Thanksgiving movie for a while, but I forgot until you, Alison, reminded me that this was actually a trailer within those Grindhouse movies that was released with Quentin Tarantino and was it Robert Rodriguez?
Yeah, Robert Rodriguez. Yeah.
Yes.
So you didn't remember that from Grindhouse. You've seen the Grindhouse though, right?
Yeah.
You've seen the movie.
Yeah, I saw them. I saw them when they came out. Like I saw them in theaters and stuff. I just forgot about the fake trailers that came with them.
That was the first Blu-ray I bought, I believe, when I bought my Blu-ray player.
Oh, nice.
It was the first or the second one. I can't remember if I bought one the night that I bought the player, or if I bought Grindhouse the night I bought. But I never owned a Blu-ray player until 2011, and I bought the Blu-ray player specifically to buy Grindhouse.
Yeah,
because that's the only way you could get it. There was no DVD of it.
Like, which one did you like better though? Did you like his Planet Terror, or did you like Death Proof?
No, I like Death Proof better.
Yeah, me too. I really like that. I really like that like short story about. Like,
but I'm a giant Quentin Tarantino fan. Like, I feel like Quentin Tarantino he's my favorite filmmaker. Like he is like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like he's the filmmaker, movie director of my generation. Yeah,
yeah, definitely.
You know, like, yeah, because I was like 18 or 19 years old when I saw my first Tarantino movie, and I was 20 years old when Pulp Fiction came out, I believe. And it was just like, he's just, of my adult life, he's been like the filmmaker that's affected me the most.
Oh yeah.
But I love Eli Roth too. Like, I think, he's definitely like in that Tarantino family, as is Rodriguez. I like the Rodriguez movie, but I like Tarantino's movie better.
Yeah. It's funny because wasn't our boy Eli Roth, wasn't he in one of Quentin Tarantino's films? He was the Nazi guy, right? The Nazi killer?
Yeah, he was the Jew bear, the bear Jew, or
the bear Jew. Yeah. So
yeah.
I thought that was super
he's
cool.
I think he's been in more than one. I know he was in Inglourious Bastards as the bear Jew. But yeah, he's actually done quite a bit of acting in small roles for sure. I really like. I mean, are you real familiar with his career? Like, did you follow Eli Roth? Like, I'm a pretty big Eli Roth fan.
A little bit. I knew him from the being the bear Jew from the Inglourious Bastards. I knew that, but I became familiar with him because of those Hostel movies that he put out.
Yeah, I saw Hostel when it was new, so I saw Hostel in the theater. So then I was like, when I saw Hostel, I was like, okay, I've got to watch everything that this guy, Eli Roth guy does.
Yeah, because it was very interesting that he did those movies, those Hostel movies, when horror movies weren't like, at the peak or something. They were kind of like a little cheesy. You know what I mean? We didn't have like the Saw yet or nothing. Before like Eli Roth's Hostel. His was like the first type to come back at being a little bit more like dirty. You know what I mean? Like more dirty, more realistic style kills.
Yeah, like well, actually, the first Eli Roth movie I ever saw was Cabin Fever.
Yeah, that's his famous one too.
Yeah, so that's the first Eli Roth movie I ever saw. But when I watched that, I didn't really think of Eli Roth as like, oh, I've got to see everything that he makes. But when I saw Hostel, I was like, oh, okay, this guy doesn't give a fuck. Yeah. Like, this guy, like, you could tell, like, he liked real horror movies.
Yeah.
Like, you could tell that he liked a lot of the same stuff that I did, like those Italian zombie movies and, the Fulci stuff. You could tell that he watched that kind of
thing. Oh, yeah, you could tell just by interviews with this guy. Like, he is a old school, hardcore horror fan. Like, when we talk about all these random... sometimes in the retro blood, we'll talk about the most random 80s movies that I never even heard about before. And you could tell that this Eli Roth guy is like, that's like right up his alley. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
I would say all of them have to be cheesy, but the very like dirty, grungy exploitation films of the 80s and some of the 70s too is like right up his alley. And, some of the fun ones too, because, a lot of his inspiration for making Thanksgiving was obviously, movies like Halloween, The Prowler, Scream, Silent Night, Deadly Night with the horror, holiday theme. So, all those movies are right up my, like, anybody's been listening to us for a while, my love for holiday themed horror movies. I just think they work so well. You know what I mean? It's like some of them could be like straight ridiculous, but some of them actually have like, really good plot and really good story with them too. So
yeah, I mean, like Eli Roth, like his early movies are great, and then this movie's good too. But this is almost like a comeback for him.
Oh yeah,
almost, because it's kind of like if you watch it, and this will be a controversial statement, but this is lights out, brother. So we're no holds barred on this one. So Eli Roth's career, his movies were really good until he got married.
Yeah, because he moved to Italian.
He moved to he moved to Colombia. I think he did move out of the country.
Yeah,
but then like as soon as he got married to the Colombian actress, like his movies kind of went to shit. I mean, they're not bad, but like he made Knock Knock, which is a remake of another movie that I can't think of what it's called. And then he made a Death Wish remake.
Yeah, Death Wish.
And then he made The House of the Clock in its Walls, and then he made a documentary about sharks, and it's like, come the fuck on, make a fucking horror movie.
Well, he made the history of horror too. Little television.
Yeah, he did
series.
that. But this is like the first real horror movie that he's made, in my opinion, in a while.
Yeah, I mean,
Knock Knock was good, but I mean, you can tell it's not Hostile.
Yeah.
By any stretch of the imagination. I thought Green Inferno was pretty good. Did you see that?
Yeah, that's the one
Although it's clearly a Cannibal Holocaust remake.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna bring that one up because that's I knew him from the Hostel series because I remember seeing Hostel 1 and 2. But then after a while, he kind of fell off my radar because I actually haven't seen Cabin Fever, which is crazy.
Oh, you need to see that.
Like I know it's crazy, and I know what happened at the end. I just never seen it, but I know it's crazy.
It's I would say it's more of a horror comedy.
Yeah.
Although it's not really a comedy either, but there's some funny stuff in it.
So the Green Inferno is the one.
North Carolina too.
Yeah. So the Green Inferno. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's North Carolina. I didn't know that. So the Green Inferno is actually the one that I was really excited about seeing because I even did the tape is not lost out there, brother. It's kind of like I did the old Crockett where I would record over other stuff and I keep my old tapes. So on my old podcast, I did a comparison. I did the Cannibal Holocaust to Green Inferno comparison, and me and my co-star at the time, we went to go watch Green Inferno. And that's why we were doing that whole podcast during that time. So I actually really like the Green Inferno movie. Those type of like documentary, real type of horror it's pretty interesting. Yeah. Like it's not my like cup of tea, but I do like that. I think that stuff is kind of interesting. Where you can make it look like it's real, but it's not really real. It's like a fake snuff film in a way.
Right, which is what Cannibal Holocaust looked like that. You could definitely tell Green Inferno doesn't look like that. But my favorite part of Green Inferno is, I guess I like this part because early in his career, Eli Roth's work was kind of like he would have, I don't want to use the word edgy, but he would have things in his movies that were like you just didn't need.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like little extra scenes that you could have shocking things, but he would add something that would just be like disgusting and it wouldn't even necessarily be anything you saw, but like the scene in Green Inferno near the end when they're all trapped in the cages and they give that girl that stuff that makes her shit.
Yeah.
And then she like has to go shit in the corner of the cage. Like, I don't know, like for some reason I just love that. I just laugh my ass off every time I see that.
Some wild shit.
But I'm like a sick bastard though, so that's just what it is.
So it's pretty interesting that this movie like is basically been in his arsenal since he was like a kid. Because he was saying him and his co-writer of this movie, what's the guy's name? Jeff Rendell. They had this idea of doing a Thanksgiving horror movie because he was like, well, I have like Halloween and you got like Christmas slashers and stuff. How come we're always making a Thanksgiving one? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And to his credit, when he was probably watching horror films, like the only one I can think of was Blood Rage. Okay, but they didn't really have like a it was a slasher from a crazy guy. But to get like he was, remember that one where he's like a crazy guy, he got like switched for the good guy. It's kind of like a Good Son thing where he got switched out to be everybody thought the bad one was the nice one and the good one was the bad one being switched out at birth. But it was more like that. It just happened to take place on Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a whole like we don't have like a killer Thanksgiving creature. And what's crazy is since he made this movie, there has been Thanksgiving horror movies before his. Even though I think he was trying to be like, when he was getting up with the idea in 2007, I think he was trying to make it like very original. But since it took him so long to make the film, we had that one movie that came out on Hulu. I think it was called Pilgrim, which is actually pretty good. I recommend you if you haven't tried it, and if y'all have Hulu, look it up. I'm pretty sure it's called Pilgrim. I'm just going off the top of my head with this, but it's pretty cool. It's about like this couple who they have these real life pilgrims come to their Thanksgiving party, and they just wreak havoc and stuff. It's pretty. It's actually pretty intense. But I still thought this one was cool, and I like it where the origins of the story was basically taken in like a grindhouse type of fashion. You know what I mean? Because anybody listens to the Retro Blood, me and Alison love like the grindhouse, the exploitation horror films and stuff. Very crazy stuff. So, but before we get into some of the deep review of the actual movie itself, Alison, there's a couple of questions I want to ask you.
Okay.
So these trailers on this grindhouse stuff, apparently, like a couple of them actually got made. This ain't the first one of them that got made.
No, they've all been made now, except for Don't. Edgar Wright's trailer never was made.
Yes.
But he made a trailer for Don't. And technically, Rob Zombie's never got made. The Werewolf Woman of the SS.
Yes.
However, when he shot that, I think his trailer was originally like an hour long. So he basically shot an entire movie.
Oh, interesting. How can you have an hour-long trailer?
Well, he basically shot a whole movie, and then because they were talking about how he had trouble editing his down into a trailer size.
Yeah.
Because he put so much into it. But yeah, Don't hasn't been made, but the rest of them have. So Thanksgiving is the latest one, and then there's also Hobo with a Shotgun.
Yeah,
which I believe was in the Canadian version of Grindhouse. It wasn't in the American one.
And then they had
Machete.
Machete. That's what it was.
Yeah.
2010, and then Hobo Shotgun was 2011.
Yeah, and it took us how long from 2007 to 2023 to get Thanksgiving?
Gonna have me do some math here on the lights out, brother. Let's see. After I've already been drinking.
I'm just now starting to drink, so.
So, but yeah, 16.
16 years.
Yes.
So it took him 16 years to make it.
So a couple of things before. So we got 16, but I want to bring up. Speaking of drinking, though, I'm gonna do a little sidetracking here on the lights out, brother, because there ain't no rules. I can hit you with some deviled eggs right now. At the feast.
Oh yeah,
brother.
I got the cranberry sauce covered baseball bat.
Yeah, there you go. I got the deviled eggs poison mist. All right. So, one of our big things besides talking about, wrestling and talking about metal music, and we do like to do our beer reviews. Okay. And that comes to here, the lights out too, brother. We talk about beer on here too. So, because I want to start drinking before I start talking a little bit more about deep into this movie. But I'm going to drink this beer for the first time here live on the air, brother. Okay, everybody out there. So me and Alison, we live in the great state of North Carolina, brother, up here in the mountains. All right. And apparently there's this beer that's like super popular around this time. And Alison, I think you know which one I'm talking about, but I want to tell everybody out here.
Is it? Yeah.
So it's made from, and I'm going to tell the story and then tell me if I'm correct or not. Okay. Because I'm still kind of new. I'm like a new native. I'm like our boy, oh God, what was his name in the film? The baseball guy. You know what I mean? Like I only show up here once a year and some shit. Okay.
This is going to be the longest story about beer that's ever been told. All right, go ahead.
It is. Because I can drown shit out. We got an hour and a half. I'll go 2. Okay. So it's made by Highland Brewing, which I think I've had some of their shit on here before. All right. And this is their famous winter beer, Cold Mountain.
Cold Mountain, yeah.
Spiced winter ale. Now, every time I've been up here for about 4 years now. Yeah. It's like one of the only beers that gets released every year. Okay. And every year there's like cartons of this shit out there, and probably once it gets released, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks, and then it's gone. It's gone for fucking good. You can't find this shit anymore.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, it's usually gone. Well, now it's an event. It's such a big deal now that it's like an event.
So what's the deal?
Cold Mountain is like one of those things where I'm sure I'll say something else controversial in this too, and somebody that's not from here. If what I'm saying pisses you off, you're not from here. But basically, Cold Mountain was a really good winter warmer. I mean, it wasn't great. I mean, it's a good beer, but it was a winter warmer. I've got actually some in my refrigerator I could get right now from a while back, but it's a winter warmer. So when you drink it, it makes you feel warm. Like a lot of like an English style beer. So which is what they call a winter warmer. It's spicy. It tastes like the holidays. It's like it has a spice taste to it. It's hard to describe. Kind of like some of those Shiner beers that you like. It's sort of like that.
Okay.
Or that Sierra Nevada beer kind of. But it's a dark beer. It's not like an IPA or anything like that. It's darkish. It's an amber, I guess you could say. So anyway, for a while, it was kind of cool. It was something we looked forward to. And then somehow it just became just incredibly trendy and incredibly popular, and people would lose their fucking minds when it was about to come out. Like I can remember drinking Cold Mountain into February in bars. They would still have it. And like their kegs would last that long.
Well, the mountains are still cold.
And it was a little bit more expensive. But now, pretty much when it comes out, if you don't buy it within a day or two, you won't find it.
Yeah, that's what I noticed.
Basically, Highland will go to the grocery store and just drop off a pallet, and people would just buy it off the pallet. It'll never be put in the cooler. They'll just buy it off.
Yeah, that's how I got mine. It's like one of the only ones left, and I was like, "Fuck!" I've seen this thing for the last 4 years, so I got to try it. So what I'm gonna do?
They probably dropped it off today. But before you drink that though, like Highland has an event now that you buy a ticket. Like as crazy as this shit sounds, you buy a ticket to go to an event, and then you can buy a limited amount of Cold Mountain at their brewery.
Okay.
So I'm kind of over it personally. I mean, I have Cool Mountain that I bought before COVID. Still,
are you saying, Alison, that there's going to be no leftovers?
No leftovers. Oh. There will be no leftovers of the
Cold Mountain. All right, well, I'm going to try it live here in the air. And y'all know I'm an avid beer drinker, especially at the darker flavors. So I am actually semi-picky. Maybe not as picky as you are, but we'll see. I'm going to try it live on air, though. Let me pop it. Yeah, brother.
I'm going to pop mine, too.
So this is the first time having... which one are you drinking?
I'm drinking a Green Man ESB.
Okay, so I just tried it.
Did you drink it out of the bottle?
Yeah, right out the bottle, brother. What, you want me to pour in a glass?
What are you, some kind of goddamn animal? Yeah, pour in a glass.
I didn't bring up a glass here, brother. I'm just going. This is the lights out, brother. We don't have any delicate rules. We're savages on here, okay?
Clearly. Anyway, what do you think?
It's okay. I probably need to put it in the bottle. People go crazy for this?
Exactly. I mean, it's okay. It's not people act like it's the greatest thing in the world. It's not bad. I mean, come on. I mean, I love Highland. I do. I mean, I love most of the beers that they put out. Black Watch is an incredible beer. But I mean, it's okay.
Yeah,
it's not as good as it used to be. When it wasn't as mass produced, it tasted better.
Yeah.
I liked it when it was indie, brother, but now they've sold out.
Wow, that happens a lot. Saying. But I mean, it's not bad. Like, it's not as good as the beer I had on the Retro Blood podcast that we had. I believe it was the Beast and the Magic Sword. I actually like that one better from New Belgium.
Yeah,
the holiday. I like that one a little better, but I'm more into like the more spices. But hey, if this one, compared to the IPAs and shit that they mostly around here, I would take this one. So it's good.
Oh yeah, well it's better than any IPA, but
yeah. So, but anybody, let's get back on track. We're we're like the parade that happened in this movie. You know what I mean? We thought the whole review was gonna go pretty smoothly. The next thing you know, we get our heads chopped off, brother, by some crazy clown. Okay. By the way, there's
That
gonna be
was
like
weird,
spoilers in here. I think people already know.
Oh
that.
yeah, there's gonna be spoilers.
Like,
if you haven't seen it, we spoil every movie.
Every fucking movie.
Sometimes before we even get to the end of the movie and the review, but
we will spoil a movie.
We spoil everything.
That doesn't even have to do with this movie, like you did on Green.
Right,
Green
we don't
Inferno.
even care. Yeah, we don't even care. Yeah, we spoiled Green Inferno too. They all die.
Yeah. So damn, I was gonna watch that one over again. No, I'm just kidding. So there a couple of things I'm gonna bring up. So this Grindhouse trailer is fantastic. Like I love it. I think I'm gonna post on the Facebook group so everybody can watch it if you haven't seen it, which I don't know why you wouldn't. It's a fun trailer. Like I think this trailer, he does a great job of what he's trying to do with his point across. And so there's a great interview. Alison, check it out. Everybody check it out. Where Eli Roth's on the Jericho podcast, and he's like talking about this movie and some of his career and everything. And he does explain why he doesn't make this Thanksgiving movie, because it's from 2007 where he kind of wanted to make the movie until now, and there's reasons behind that, with the horror movie fatigue and not getting the right idea, moving and stuff, a bunch of stuff.
Does one of them have to do with him getting married?
Kind of, like he was in Italy and stuff, and it's probably hard to do certain things around there. But I think the biggest thing he said was he just couldn't figure out a detailed script until he actually focused more on it. So, but the trailer that he does on here, I think since it was so long, like between like when that original trailer dropped in Grindhouse to what this movie is, like he kind of wanted to make it in the same, kind of in the same vein, but like having like that one is like a, like he kind of wanted to do like he was doing like a remake. You know what I mean? It's not like he was doing that movie that we saw in that Grindhouse trailer. It's like he's doing a remake of that trailer that we saw. Like that stuff happened beforehand, and he's doing something new now. But he did bring a lot of elements from that trailer into this movie. Now I'm going to talk about them. All right. So when I was watching that trailer, I noticed that there were some scenes that he brought into this new movie. And of course, most of it is about the same. So, we're in the Plymouth, Massachusetts. All right. It's Thanksgiving, and it's the first year. I thought it was very clever that they did the whole Black Friday angle. You know what I mean? Because of how crazy Black Friday is around here in the States. All right.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of less so now.
I would agree with that. It's definitely a little bit less.
This is a little bit kind of behind the times, but he probably doesn't know that. But like a few, like before COVID, there were like Walmart and Target and places like that were opening on Thanksgiving night, and things like that, and which is kind of what starts out for this movie. But nobody does that now. Everybody closes on Thanksgiving now.
Yeah, I mean, they're all pretty much closed on Thanksgiving, and then they open at midnight most of the time.
No,
or like 1 or 2.
Most of them open pretty early in the morning, like 5 o'clock or something in the morning. I think. I don't think anybody opens in the middle of the night anymore. Like they've kind of regained their senses on that. I think because we don't need to be able to shop 24 hours a day. You just don't need that. I don't,
brother.
Care
I
who
need
you are,
I need to go in at Walmart.
No, you don't
at 1 a.m. Okay. Hi. Getting some munchies and getting this movie off the DVD rack. All right. Anyway.
What? Yeah. Like, why do you think I've got 300 DVDs? Because I would go in at Walmart at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And buy $5 DVDs.
So, come on now. I mean, I get why they were fighting. I mean, fuck, bro. That was a free waffle iron. I mean, those things are rare, brother. That's a great item to get for free.
Yeah. Yeah. You can never get a waffle iron.
I mean, come on now. So, obviously, the whole Black Friday gimmick wasn't used in the original trailer because, why would it be? But they did. But they did use the parade scene, which I thought was pretty cool. So, like during the parade, they used that in the actual movie, and they used it in the trailer as well. And the same thing happened.
The parade.
Go ahead.
I was going to say the parade scene looked almost identical. In fact, that turkey costume, I would believe it's the same costume.
I think it might have been.
You know what I mean? it was either the same costume or they remade it exactly the same.
Yeah.
Although in the original trailer, it was the pilgrim that cut his head off.
Yeah. Well, and this one,
Instead of a
it
clown.
was the killer, but yeah, it was a clown on this one. But there was pilgrims nearby, so
True.
yeah, because they were trying to catch the John Carver character, which we'll talk about him here in a little bit too. So they killed the mascot pretty much the same way by chopping off his head. One of my favorite scenes in the movie, which was one of my favorite scenes in the trailer, was it was the rival baseball team, okay, and it was the captain of them, and you see him in the gym. In the movie, you see him in the gym. They're all working out and stuff. Like he's like really motivating the guys to work out, and you could tell that the cheerleader girl is trying to tell them to come over here so they can have some naughty action, okay? And it's the scene where she's jumping up and down on the trampoline, okay?
Yeah.
And I thought this scene was so clever in the original trailer where she just gets him there. She's going like, she shows her tits, shows a little bit of ass, and then you can see the killer come up right behind him and just kind of like chop off his head, and then he puts the knife, and then she does the splits right onto the knife, all right? And
Right.
actually, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say so. I feel like he kind of wussed out a little bit when he made this scene in the original, because he didn't make it as graphic as it was implied to be in the trailer.
Yeah.
I was disappointed in that.
Well, I was too, because I thought it was a little bit more like grungy on the actual trailer version. Because on the movie version, he comes up behind the guy, snaps his neck, and then we do get more of a graphic knifing because she goes up and down on the knifing. But we don't see as much. We don't see any titties. We see a little bit of an ass. You know what I mean? So I feel like though there's going to be like an uncut version of this movie that's going to be a little bit more graphic. So that's
I mean, I mean, there's like, I wish he hadn't shied away from like the nudity, because like although I'm sure it's probably because he just didn't want to pay the actors to do it. Like it cost more money to do that, and I'm sure this was a budget conscious project, but you know, in the original one, she takes her top off, and then and like her underwear, and you can kind of see that she does that in the movie, but it doesn't show it. Like it just shows her like for a second doing it, and then the killing starts. So yeah, but I mean, it's just a little thing. Like he could have gone more graphic than he did. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but still pretty crazy scene. But there is one scene that they left out from the trailer. Actually, two scenes I thought they were pretty crazy. So in the trailer, the original, I guess, like, girl, it's going to be, her name is Judy, all right? And there's one scene in the trailer where she's hanging out with Eli Roth, basically, because he's acting in his own trailer. Yeah. And she's basically about to go suck his dick, okay?
Yeah.
And like she goes for it. She's like, yeah, no problem. I'm gonna go and suck your dick right here in the woods. He's like, hell yeah. And then like she's going for it. You can hear like the snap, right? And she's like, getting down there, and she goes reach for his head, and his head's not there, right? Because he got his fucking head chopped off while about to get his dick stuck. And I was like, bro, you had to add that in the fucking movie. That would have been. I don't know
why.
Oh my god, bro! I would have popped so hard. That is a great scene. Okay, especially if you're trying to do old school slashers, that is a great scene. And the other scene they had was Judy and another guy, okay? And then the guy, he's going for a kiss, and then his head just chops off. So he kind of used that in the movie because we have our main character, what's her name? I believe her name was it Amanda? I believe it was. No, it wasn't Amanda. It was, what was the girl that did? Gabby. She did have like two boyfriends.
Gabby, yes.
Yeah, she did have two boyfriends, kind of like in the trailer where the girl, you could tell that the girl had like two guys that she was seeing at the time. So, but that whole dick sucking scene, bro, if they would have had that, I would have fucking popped my ass off because that was a fucking great scene. Hopefully we'll get it in the deleted scenes. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe he shot it and didn't put it in.
Well, so, he was trying, I get what he was trying to do here. Like, he wasn't trying to go whole Terrifier, you know what I mean? Where we're just going to throw a bunch of gore and shit. He wanted to make it like an acceptable slasher movie for this rating nowadays. And maybe, I'm not really sure because it's like, I'm not really sure what ratings would be like nowadays. You know, like we knew in the 80s and stuff. You know, there's some, if you wanted to get like a pretty big disparate, if you want to get a pretty big release, you know, you probably can't show like a plethora of gore. You know what I mean? You can have killing scenes, but you can't like just like gore them all out. You know what I mean? And like nowadays, you know, it's like almost the opposite, where we kind of do get a lot of gore because of like movies like Saw and stuff. So I'm not, maybe they're more about the gore nowadays and less on the sex. So
maybe. So I think that I think what you just said might be true of the later 80s.
Yeah.
But I think in the first half of the 80s, they let movies become R-rated movies that would not be passed today.
Yeah.
Like when you can tell from the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street, you couldn't make a movie like Nightmare on Elm Street today. People would lose their fucking minds with the kind of shit that's in it and the themes and things like that. You couldn't make that now. You know, but a movie like, you can't count a movie like Terrifier because that's not a wide release movie.
Yeah.
Like that was a movie that was made for video, but was released in theaters for horror fans to go see for 1 or 2 nights, and then that's it. It's not a wide release movie like Thanksgiving is.
But it did get so popular though that it stayed for longer periods of time.
You know, that's true, and that's an exception. But the example you used was Saw, which I think is an exception. But there was a lot of movies like that around that time, like Saw and Hostel and things like that. Those were all those torture porn movies were kind of popular.
But they didn't have a lot of sex in them. That's what I'm trying to say, though. Like,
no, you're right. But I mean, that's an American thing, though. Like, people are like, in America, you know, we don't have any problems with violence. But if you show tits, then the whole world like is coming to an end.
I can go on my phone on Facebook and see a bunch of tits.
On Facebook?
Sometimes.
Maybe Reddit.
There you go. So, but yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Yeah, it's just one of those things where, you know, I could see, like I said, like I think there's going to be like an uncut version of this movie, and I could see a little bit more of the, you know, the more of the NC-17 rating compared to the R rating could be, you know.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
So, you know, another thing from the trailer too is a lot of the guys are in the Letterman jackets, which we did get in this movie as well too. We did get a lot of Letterman jackets. I like this tagline they used in the trailer, but they didn't use it in the movie. It was, "Arrive hungry, leave yourself stuffed."
I think that he was when he got around to making this movie, one of the things he was trying to make it more serious than the trailer is.
Oh yeah.
So
definitely.
he didn't want it to be like a comedy,
which was a good idea.
You know, like which I think is a good idea. So he didn't want to make it too ridiculous, even though, I mean, we had a scene where a trash can lid or like a trash can top cut a woman in half.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous.
Come on, brother. Never happened before? You're getting the trash can stuck, you know what I mean? Get your fucking body. That's
never happened before. But anyway.
So there is a scene too in the trailer, which is probably, you know, it's probably the biggest scene in the movie and the trailer, where we see the human turkey body being served to the family. So, you know, obviously when I saw that scene, it's like, brother, you know that's going to the movie. You know what I mean? Like, and I liked it in this movie where and he said this too during the Jericho podcast, he didn't want to just like have the family all tied up and then, oh, here's the body. You know, he actually wanted to work up to it, you know, and see like how this is being formed and how it's going to be presented. And I thought that was a good idea. You know what I mean? To like kind of see like, you know, the whole process of the killer actually making which would be the wife and the in the movie version of being the spread out of the table. Okay. And then I thought one part was, and of course the part that I thought was pretty funny on the trailer, which they could not do nowadays, but this, I would have cracked up so hard if they did, was, so the dead body on the trailer was actually the Eli Roth's character body. So they cooked his body on there and served it to the trailer family. and then they had Eli Roth's head, and it had his head, like kind of like not just his head, but like his head, like maybe like a little bit of his neck and shoulders, and they propped it onto a turkey. Okay, and then the fucking killer is like humping the turkey right in front of the family with his dead head on it. I was like, oh shit, bro! If they did that, I would have fucking lost my mind. Like, this is crazy. Like, you know, if he would have took like the wife's head and like started humping it in front of everybody, I was like, this is fucking wild. That I might have put in the film, because I know that, but I'm guessing that probably would have got like maybe flagged, but that shit would have been wild. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the killer kind of, to me, I kept thinking he looked like the V for Vendetta guy.
Oh, because his mask, yeah.
Because the mask
similar.
and his hat and his hair, and he kind of looked like the V for Vendetta guy. So it's almost like the V for Vendetta horror version. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was the trailer. There's another scene in the trailer. Well, yeah, the scene where she's holding the guy's head, and then his body falls down, and she's still holding the head.
Yeah.
There's a scene kind of like that in the movie, but yeah, that would have been kind of cool to have that scene in the movie too.
Yeah.
And then he runs up behind her, runs up to her. But you could tell, like, for this, he didn't have the whole story about the teenager.
No.
Even though he you know what I mean? But like when I was watching it, it kind of seemed more like I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean,
I kept thinking that.
Yeah. So like the movie that we saw, you know, the 2023 version, you know, was way different than the actual trailer when it comes to it, because basically his inspirations, and he said this too in the Jericho podcast, was basically, you know, obviously it was like a Halloween was a big inspiration, because, you know, we got a scene that was kind of like Halloween in this movie, where he had Gabby in the school, and she looks over and she sees the killer with his John Carpenter mask on. Okay.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was the Prowler, which I thought was pretty interesting, that he took a lot of stuff from the Prowler, which we actually reviewed on the Retro Blood.
On
Everybody
Retro Blood.
Check it out, brother, in the archives. That's a fantastic movie.
Yeah, it's a great film.
And
wasn't Halloween originally supposed to be called Thanksgiving? Wasn't that the original idea that was pitched to John Carpenter?
Yeah. But he's like, why the fuck would you do that? Yeah.
Like, what you should make a horror movie and center it around Thanksgiving. And he's like, why in the hell would you do that?
Yeah.
And so he did it around Halloween instead.
Exactly. Yes. Little did he know. No, but I mean, like, come on. I mean, that's a good idea, doing Halloween, you know, first. You know, obviously you had to do that. It makes more sense.
Yeah.
And then also too, what I was mostly getting out of this movie was Scream vibes. In a lot of ways.
Well, okay, I see that too, yeah.
Now, I'm not talking about, hey, we know I'm in a horror movie Scream vibes, but hey, we have a mystery killer, we have kids being killed, okay, and we have a killer that's semi-taunting them in a way. You know, because remember, he was taunting all the kids by sending them, tagging them in the Facebook accounts or Instagram accounts, okay? And that's very Scream-like.
Yeah.
Using a lot of phones and using the technology at the time to taunt your victims is very Scream-like. So,
but like you were just saying, like, this is kind of off topic a little bit, but so like you were just saying about like, not like we know we're in a horror movie. So it's not like Scream breaks the fourth wall, but you're right. They've seen horror movies before.
Yeah.
So they're trying to use the rules of that to survive. So do you think it's more or less realistic for someone to do that? Because, you know, you like watch this movie and you would think that they'd never seen anything like this before ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's more, so, you know, that's why I really like Scream when it comes to that aspect, because I think it's more realistic. If people have actually seen these horror movies before and it's actually happening to them in real life, you know? That's why I like the original Scream and stuff, is like almost a masterpiece in that way, because it's so different and creative, because it's like, oh shit, like this can actually kind of happen. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's like, yeah, that shit can happen. You can have two sickos who love horror movies so much that they want to make their own in a way. So,
yeah.
So yeah,
I also
think,
like in this movie how they made it like it's something that could realistically happen instead of it being absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah,
like I like how they made it to where it's something that could actually happen.
Yeah. Okay. So the basic plot line of Thanksgiving. Okay. After we, because I was just trying to do like comparison to the trailer to what's in the movie. So so the basic plot line to the Thanksgiving is basically we're in this Plymouth, right? We have we're the first year where we have Gabby and we have her dad, Thomas White, and like Gabby has her mom died, and then she has like a new stepmom and stuff. She has her boyfriend. God, what was that guy's name? I think it was Collins. No, it wasn't. Well, she has a boyfriend who's a baseball. Yeah. See if you can look it up. But she basically has a boyfriend who is like a big pitcher and stuff. He doesn't live there, but he's there in a year and stuff. And then we have this cop who comes over too. Okay, his name is Sheriff
Bobby.
Bobby. Okay, is he the baseball guy?
I believe Bobby is the baseball guy.
Okay, cool.
He's the guy that's not Ryan.
Yeah. So we have Bobby.
And he's not Scuba.
Yeah. And then we have another character we meet that's prominent is the sheriff. He's coming over there too, and he's meeting the Amanda Collins, and then her husband is going to be Mitch Collins. And Mitch, he has to work because he works at retail. Okay, so he had to leave Thanksgiving dinner to go to fucking retail. And I was like, brother, I've been there before because I've had to do that multiple times in the past. So
because it's so well, Greg, because it sets it up that like, you know, so Gabby and her family are the rich people who own the business, and they're enjoying their Thanksgiving, while the poors have to go to work for them to make them money.
Yes, pretty much. And so we have this crazy scene at the beginning, which really reminded me of. Have you ever seen the South Park Black Friday episode?
No.
Oh God, fucking fantastic! Everybody go check it out. It really reminded me of that. Like with the chaos and stuff. And I'm pretty sure there's like a comedy movie named Black Friday too, where they do like, they storm the shops and stuff. But it's basically like that. I think it has Bruce Campbell in it too. That Black Friday movie. So the gist of it, they storm the Gabby and her whole crew there. They go there, and it was so weird. Okay, this part didn't really make a lot of sense to me. Okay, so one of the kids, I believe it was the curly hair kid. Okay, he needed to get a new phone. So he wanted to go to the Right Mark, which is their version of the Walmart. He wanted to go to the Right Mark to get a new phone. And I was like, bro, like, do you know anything about a phone? Like, because he thinks he's just going to go in there, get a new phone, and then go to the movie theater. Like, just 20 minutes. I'm like, bro, even if there wasn't Black Friday, that shit ain't taking no 20 minutes. You know what I mean?
If he got an unlocked phone, it would be.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if he got an unlocked one. But I think he was looking for an iPhone. You can't find an iPhone unlocked at the Right Mark.
No. I don't know that he specifically said that. He just needed a phone. But yeah, you're right. I mean, but if he got an unlocked phone, he could just put a SIM card in and it would have worked.
Yeah. But then you got to transfer over that information. It's like, I ain't doing that shit, brother. All right, you get on out of here.
It could have been anything.
Just imagine, Alison. Just imagine you ever got the Right Mark, right? And some fucking asshole comes up to you. You got like 1 million people in line. Hey, can you transfer my shit over? Fuck you. Get out of here.
Fuck you. Get out of here. But you could tell, like with some things, you can tell that the people writing them don't really experience them. So you can tell that
the details. Yeah.
Eli Roth has never gone to a store to buy a phone, or hasn't in a long time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He sends someone else to do that for him now.
Yeah,
well, he doesn't know how long
it makes sense. So, but they since they do get the end because Gabby's dad owns the Right Mark, they did get into the back door, and they start taunting the people outside. These people outside are vicious, brother. I haven't seen these fucking people in a long time. These vicious people, they just fucking come in there, and then basically what happens is they taunt them too much, and they come in there. The security guard was weird because it's all like, "Hey, we're gonna open up in 10 minutes." But then I guess they're like, hey, lock the doors. And then they start breaking the barricade, and then they had to open the doors to let him in. I was like, well, fucking, why don't you just let him in the first place?
Well, I think they thought that if they were going to riot, and if they locked the doors, it would keep them out. But then they realized that people were going to get crushed, so they had to open the doors to relieve the pressure on the door.
Yeah.
Of course, it broke anyway, but still.
Yeah. So the main part is the security guard died. Okay. And then Amanda, she was there to visit her husband, Mitch. Okay. And she got trampled and killed. She actually got like part of her like skull ripped off. I thought that was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So that kind of like makes it. So from those deaths right there, it kind of set up. Oh, and also to our boy Bobby, he got his arm. He's like this famous pitcher that people were taking like pictures with. All right, and he got his arm fucked up trying to help out the security guard. So his career was over in the baseball. Okay, so I really like this scene because it was setting up. It was very Scream-like. We're setting up multiple people who could be the supposed killer of our story. So it's the next year. We have Bobby. He's gone. He hasn't been seen for in a year. Makes you think, okay, he could be one of the killers. And they're kind of discussing if they want to do like Thanksgiving or not because of what happened at the right mark. But they kind of decided like, so first of all, our boy, Gabby's dad, who's played by Rick Hoffman. Okay,
he was the guy that played Ari in Entourage.
Yeah,
that's the same guy.
Yeah, he's also in Suits too, brother. Which the only reason I know about Suits is because it came on like either before or after Raw a lot. All right.
So you just watched whatever came on before or after Raw.
Well, I never actually watched Suits, but I've heard it's really good though.
Okay.
I've heard the show is really good, but I never actually seen it.
All right.
Okay, but I thought he does a pretty good job.
Fine.
I mean, I've seen all the commercials with him, and he seemed like he knows what he's doing. So he decides to open up the right mark because, you know, the rich people, they're just saying, okay, the way I can help out the town that people got killed in is I'll just open it up again and do more specials. Okay. So we could obviously tell that the Mitch guy, he is not liking this Thanksgiving because, you know, his wife died during the Thanksgiving Black Friday sale. But it's actually weird because we don't really see a whole lot of Mitch in this film. Maybe they're saving his character more for like number 2.
Yeah.
So.
Oh,
go ahead.
No, Mitch. He did not play Ari in Entourage. Jeremy Piven did. Somehow I got those two people mixed up. They kind of look the same a little bit.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Rick. This guy right here, he was known. Rick Hoffman, he was known for the Bernie Mac show. Have you ever seen Bernie Mac show?
Maybe, but I don't really remember anything about it.
Yeah, I don't remember it too, but I know I watched it as a kid. And he's known for that. To me, he's known for that and the Suits. So that's like his gimmick.
Okay. Excellent.
And we also do meet the sheriff too. Sheriff Eric Newman, which is actually Patrick Dempsey. Okay, which I wasn't too. Apparently, everybody's familiar with this guy except for me.
Yeah,
I wasn't too familiar with this guy, but I didn't realize he was actually awarded an award that I might get one day, Alison, of being people's sexiest man alive.
Yeah, McDreamy.
Yeah.
Have you never? Patrick, this guy's a very famous. He's the most famous person in this movie.
Well, yeah, I knew he was, and I swear I've seen him before. But who has he beat?
He was in Bridget Jones, one of those Bridget Jones movies. He was in Can't Buy Me Love in the 80s movie.
I was in Scream 3. Okay.
He was in Scream 3. He was in Outbreak.
I haven't seen any of these. I was in Scream 3, but I haven't seen. Oh, he was in Transformers, brother. Dark of the Moon.
I think he was in one of those. You've never seen Outbreak?
No, I've never seen Outbreak.
About the monkey that spreads the disease to everybody and they all fucking die with Dustin Hoffman. It's a great movie.
No.
I mean, it hits a little different post-COVID, but, you know, it's still a good movie.
Well, I thought he did a great job as a sheriff. He was very believable. And we'll get to him later.
Yeah.
So, you know, around this time, the Gabby, she's dating this other dude. What's his name? Ryan. He's kind of like, you know what's crazy about this cast, too? Like, you know, this is like and I actually really give props to Eli Roth doing this, where, you know, he was making like a slasher film. So he wanted to add maybe one or two, kind of like the original Halloween. You know, we're going to add maybe one or two stars that people kind of know, but everybody else is going to be like pretty much brand new. All right.
Yeah.
Which I like that. And a lot of these kids and stuff, this is like their first horror movie or first movie. And a lot of them actually came from the world of Disney, which I always think is very funny when it's kind of like the transition with younger actors. They start in Disney, and then where do you go to next? Oh, let's go to a horror movie. Okay. It's like that one guy.
You gotta do something edgy. They all do.
Yeah. It's like that one guy who was like, I don't remember the actor's name. And people out there are like, oh, what the fuck? Nah. It's like, brother, this is lights out. We just come on here, drink, we talk. So there was the guy who was in that oh God, I can't remember. Jeffrey Dahmer. He was the
Jeffrey
one.
Dahmer, yeah.
It wasn't the Ryan Murphy Jeffrey Dahmer on Netflix. Okay, it was that other one that came out of like the younger kid that was playing Jeffrey Dahmer. All right, and that actor, he would pretty much before he did that role, that crazy ass role, he was just doing a bunch of Disney movies. So I was like, damn, what are they teaching him over there?
Well, yeah, they got to do something edgy. Remember, like, what's the girl from Saved by the Bell that her first feature movie was Showgirls? Whoever she was,
the girl that
she
played
was in
Kelly?
Saved by the Bell. No,
Blonde one?
Kelly was Tiffany Amber Thiessen, right?
Fuck,
It was the other girl.
Like,
tall
oh yeah,
one,
the
the
tall,
blonde one.
yeah, I know you're talking about. Yeah, the tall one, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so she had to be in Showgirls so that she could do something edgy and show that she wasn't a kid or whatever.
Yeah.
They all kind of have to do that, but horror is a really good way to do that because you can move out of, your kid stage and do something that's not something. Basically, you can do something that's not porn, but it's still edgy and adult.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And apparently the girl who played Gabby, which I thought she did a pretty good job, she is known to be a big TikToker. That's how she made her fame. By the TikToking Alison.
The TikToking?
Yes.
Are you a TikToker, James?
Not really. Like, I don't really get TikTok, even though I need to do it for our show and stuff, to get more followers and shit. But like,
no, I didn't even know we had a TikTok. I don't.
We don't.
I don't use it or anything. Okay.
But I have some ideas to add on there. They're mostly gonna be horror themed. But like, listen.
Fantastic.
I don't know if there's like, okay, listen, guys. Me and Alison, we're a little older. We're not old, but we're older. Okay, brother. When I was going to high school, we didn't even have MySpace when I was going to high school. Okay, all right, guys. So this shit is not, I would just say it's like passed me by, but there is some stuff that I don't really get. And so when I log on TikTok, I do like some of there's some skits that are pretty funny, but most of the shit is just girls dancing. And I just don't get it. It's like, okay, well, why is there just a bunch of girls dancing on here shaking their booties? Okay. Like, is that, is it really,
know, man. Just
do people
go,
give
just
them money?
Go scream at some clouds. Just go yell at clouds, man.
Bro.
You'll be fine.
I kind of want to, because I just don't get it. Like, bro, I think our guys are the new generation guys are guys just so thirsty that we just want to see a girl shake their ass.
I think so.
I ain't giving no fucking girl no money for shaking her ass on the fucking camera. That shit better be in my face, brother. All right.
I think people are just fucking so fucking brain dead now that they can't even think for themselves. Yeah. I mean, Reddit's a perfect example of that. Like you can't even get an opinion from someone that isn't a meme.
Yeah.
Like on Reddit, I'll ask somebody why they don't like something, and they'll repeat a meme to me. Like, no, tell me why you don't like it.
Yeah.
Just explain to me why you don't like about this, or why you do like it, or whatever. But like, people can't even think for themselves anymore. And I guess TikTok is like that, so they can just scroll through it or whatever, and watch something for 10 seconds and then move on.
There is some good memes though. I can tell you how I like something.
Sure.
Like if they made a meme out of that Eli Roth character humping that turkey. I mean, come on now.
We should just do an episode of Retro Blood that's all memes.
Yeah, I mean, constantly back and forth. The first ever live episode we do is just us pulling memes out to people. But anyway, this and not saying this Addison Rae, I don't know if she shook her booty on the fucking TikTok. I never seen a TikTok of her at all, but I believe that she's like a singer. Now I don't know what she sings or what she does, but she was okay in this film. Okay.
So she sings on the TikTok.
Yeah, she sings on the TikTok. She may or may not shake her ass on there too. I have no idea. Okay.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
So the big story with her is her gimmick is she has a rich dad. She doesn't like her stepmom, and she has 2 boyfriends that want to get in her pants. Okay, and then she has a killer, basically using her for his killer motives. So the killer actually was really interesting in this movie, and it's funny when you hear like Eli Roth talk about how he found out about the killer. So he was doing some research, okay, at a Plymouth Rock, and he just so happened to find that the original person who landed and settled on Plymouth Rock, the guy's name just so happened to be John Carver. All right,
that's perfect.
And he was like, "You got to be fucking kidding me! There's a guy out there named John Carver. Like that's a perfect horror name. Like what the hell?"
Yeah, and he happened to be the first governor of Massachusetts.
Exactly. And then so basically what he did was, and this is a super clever idea, and I got to give him props on it. Like this is why I like this guy, because you could tell that he knows his shit. He knows what to do. So one of his things is like, okay, why don't I just make a bunch of masks, okay, about this random John Carver guy for the Plymouth parade. And I'm going to make so many masks out there that everybody can wear one. And then, of course, the killer is going to be wearing one of these masks, so we can't tell who the killer is at all. And I was just like, bro, you just made yourself a fucking spot on Spirit Halloween shop, you know what I mean, for decades to come. You know what I mean? Like, if I don't see a John Carver in her mask next year at the fucking Spirit, I mean, come on now, guys. What are we doing here? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that has to be a thing.
And it's such an easy costume to do for people. You could put him in a pilgrim outfit with his mask on and an axe. Boom, there you go, brother. That's all you need. So that's the which is weird though, because I think his idea though for the mask is like we ordered all these masks, but we can't go out there because of COVID. But I was like, you know what? Like I don't think that actually happened too much in the movie, because there still was a parade and everything, and everybody seemed to be wearing the mask. So I think that was one of his original ideas, to add the mask in.
Yeah.
So the killer basically, the killer has an agenda in this movie, where what happened was that the security camera footage from the right mark got mysteriously deleted. Okay, so the only footage they had was from the curly haired jock guy's phone, where of course he made a YouTube video out of it, and of course it went viral. And the killer was using that as his form of victims to kill in this movie and who to target. So the killer in this one was very Scream-like, where he actually created, and we'll come back to this at the end, but this killer created a whole Instagram account of John Carver, okay, and he added all the kids, okay, that were like the original kids that were all into the right mark, and he tagged them all. And he kept tagging them all throughout the movie, and of course, like he made like a whole dinner table with all their names on the dinner table too, and then tagging them. And then every time he would kill a body, he would tag the kids into it, which is very, Scream, very I Know What You Did Last Summer, very, very stuff like that. And like we're kind of bringing like the new age. How do you feel about that, Alison, too? Because I want to ask you something really quick. So me and you, we watch a lot of 80s films.
We do.
And most of the time on the 80s films, when it comes to the killer taunting the the victims, is we're gonna cut the phone line. You know what I mean? Or we're gonna stalk you in your house. We're gonna cut the phone line. How do you feel nowadays about the whole, social media taunting? How do you feel about that, Alison?
Oh, I think it makes sense. I mean, I think that's something you would do if you were that kind of killer.
Yeah.
I mean, probably not if you were a successful killer that wanted to stay, hidden. But yeah, I think that's how you would do it now, is you would taunt on social media.
Yeah. Like, I know there's ways to hide it. Okay. But, they could always still trace like the IP addresses. You know what I mean? Like where.
Exactly.
So unless this killer, which once we found out who the killer was, it was a little hard for me to believe that this guy was like, he knew all about Instagram and hiding his IP address and hiding his VPN and having some sort of high security firewall that he was firewalling stuff. And you know what I mean? So it was a little.
Well, but he had an advantage though.
That's true. That is true.
Because of who he is.
Maybe he did know how to do all that stuff. That's true. Well, kind of.
Well, no, I'm not saying that he knew how to do that stuff, but like him not being found out makes sense because of who he turned out to be.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean? Like, and I can't say anything more without spoiling it. I mean, we're going to spoil it anyway, but, I can't say anything more without spoiling it right now, but because of who he was, him not being caught that early makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, because it would be so easy. I mean, you would essentially, if you wanted to kill someone successfully, you would need to turn off your phone completely while you were doing it.
Yeah. Or not even have it on.
And this guy had multiple, right. And this guy had multiple phones running all the time.
Yeah. So, but, then we get to the killings. Okay. And you talked about that one where he killed the diner shop girl, which, actually, something about her too. So the diner shop girl was like the girl in the, at the beginning, at the film in the Black Friday stuff who really, really wanted her waffle iron. Kind of the heavier set woman there that really wanted the waffle iron. She also works in a diner too. And that was the first victim of our John Carver killer. And apparently the actress who plays her, she is actually related to the actual John Carpenter descent. She's like one of the 14th descents of him. It just so happens to be like that on there, which I thought was pretty crazy.
Wow. Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah. So she's the first one. That's the one that she basically got killed by splitting her body in between a dumpster with the car.
Yeah, she was like halfway in a dumpster, and then the lid came down and cut her in half.
Yeah. Well, what I was thinking was, the dumpster, maybe that particular dumpster had some sort of sharp razor blades. You know what I mean? On the
I'm sure it did.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sure that was
keep the homeless out, brother.
That dumpster has that to keep the homeless out. Yeah, I'm sure that's what it is.
So he puts half of her body on the right mark. I like how they kind of explained this one too. It's like, yeah, we saw a guy up there in a Plymouth costume put this body up there. Because it was like, how the fuck did that thing get up there? And so basically, he put half the body up on the right mark sign, and then the other half of the body in his little dinner table. And then he starts going down one by one. I thought one of the best kills he did was the I guess she was like, was she okay? Russian? Was the guy Russian or is he German?
Oh, her dad?
Yeah, her dad. Yeah,
Yulia's dad. I don't know. I think I couldn't tell, honestly.
I think it was
tell
Russian.
if he was Russian or German. But
let's go with Russian. So she had a Russian dad. They're going to Florida. Like, get on it, girl. We're going here to Florida. All right?
Yeah.
And I actually thought this scene was great, where they had a special security guard. He's like, hey, you want to eat? He's like, you got to eat. He's like, and the guy's like, hey, are you ever going to remodel this place? And the guy's like, no, not really.
Or yeah, he's like, then he says something like, when is the remodel going to be finished? He's like, never.
And then, the Carpenter, and the Carpenter is not too much different than the original trailer. The only difference is this killer in this movie has the mask, like the little paper mask that you would find at like Spirit Halloween.
Yeah.
And he shoots him with like a tranquilizer or a gun. Was it a gun or no? It was a silencer. It had to be a silencer gun. All right. Or was it a tranquilizer? I couldn't tell. So he goes. I
can't remember actually.
Yeah, he goes up there and he basically kills the cheerleader girl over FaceTime, where she's FaceTiming with her boyfriend and Gabby.
Yeah.
And he sticks those corn on the cob needles into her eardrums. It's like, oh fuck. It's like, damn, that was a good one.
That was pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy, that was a little bit.
Yeah, and then he takes her, and then they try to get in there. They try to get in there and try to save her and stuff, but it doesn't really work out in their favor because our boy who bought one of the jock guys who bought a gun from probably one of our favorite characters,
that guy was awesome,
the rocker guy, and his son.
McCarty, is that his name?
Yeah, like McCarty. Yeah, and bro, that line with the Black Sabbath was great.
Yeah. That guy was just standing up and clapping. Like, yeah, that was
Yeah.
perfect. The Black Sabbath thing was perfect.
Yeah, so basically what happened was there's this like kind of like rocker guy, and he was trying to do like a party and get these kids to come to his like pre-Thanksgiving party. I guess
Yeah,
it was
he's kind of like Matthew McConaughey's character in Dazed and Confused.
yes.
Not Dazed and Confused. Or is it Dazed and Confused?
I think it is Dazed and Confused, yeah.
The one...
Yeah, it's like an older character,
Yeah,
and
it
he
is
brings
Dazed
the
and
weed.
Confused,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
he brings like the weed
Yeah,
and
he's
the gun.
kind of like
Yeah.
that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he's trying to get all these
And then
kids and to sell them beer and like get some money out of them, I guess. All right.
And then these three kids show up, and they're talking about how they want to know if his party is worth it, or they've heard that it's not as good as it used to be, or something like that. And then he tries to explain to them that, like, you know, one time Black Sabbath had Ozzy Osbourne as a singer, and then they fired Ozzy, and nobody thought the world it would ever be the same. And then they got Ronnie James Dio, and it was just as good as it was before. And then the kids are like, "Who's Black Sabbath?" And then he's like, "Get the fuck off my property!
Get the fuck out of here, brother." For the retro blood, we salute this guy because that is true.
Do.
Get the fuck out of here, brother.
And he had a Halloween back patch.
Yes. So he sells the dude a gun. You know what I mean? To help him protect him and stuff. And but the problem is our boy, what is this guy's name?
Scuba.
Yeah, Scuba. That's right. Yeah. Our boy Scuba, he forgot to do the safety on there. Okay. So he doesn't do that. And the killer basically ends up killing the cheerleader girl, kind of like cutting her out with the guts all out. All right. And then we start moving on.
Oh, and that table saw.
Yeah, the table saw scene. Yeah.
That was
rips
freaking
her off.
awesome.
Yeah.
It was like cutting her hand, like she cut her hands on it at first, and then she's like all like gutted with the table saw. That was fucking great.
Yeah. So the big thing too here is we also see that Gabby's dad, you know, he was going to do a commercial shoot, but his cabin got ruined by people, and at the time they just thought it was like some people that were protesting because, you know, a lot of the town kind of like was giving him some shit for making people work on Thanksgiving. That's why this tragedy happened, because he was like being greedy and wanted to keep, you know, open. So this movie did have like a overall theme of greedy corporate retail America in a way. And so the big thing is this killer, like he's like, you know, targeting different people from the videotape. And Gabby, she is trying to figure out who this killer might be. So she actually starts suspecting both of her boyfriends, and she actually has some tape that actually got loaded up into her dad's computer that didn't get erased. Okay, so they erased the one from the store, but they didn't erase the one from the laptop. And she brings it to the sheriff, and she shows the sheriff this whole tape of all the people in the right mark and stuff, and who it could be. And they start really heavily focusing on the boyfriend Ryan, because he knew the security guard at the time. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're very Scream like, where we have like multiple people who could probably be the killer, you know. So we're doing the whole mystery angle on here. And, you know, so we have the big fight between both the boyfriends. So they're out of the parade. So that kind of like gets them off screen. And the big thing is the sheriff says, okay, the way we know this killer is coming after you guys, because he has like a list. Kind of, he doesn't really have a list that he put out there, but they can tell by his pattern. He's going after a lot of the main characters from this Black Friday murder that happened. So the police plan to still have the parade, still do the parade. So they're going to do the parade, but then they're going to have part of the parade where the whole Gabby family comes back to the warehouse, and they're going to be all alone, but there's going to be cops over there. So the killer shows up. He's going to think they're all alone, and then the cops will swoop in and take them. So we're going to do like a little stakeout. So we did the parade scene, which is pretty cool. So first we see like a little protesters, you know, because they're protesting the Black Friday thing that was run by Mitch. Of course, his wife died during the Black Friday thing, so we try to protest. So because we're you know, like I liked how like he was doing this. He was making it where like it could be multiple people being the killers. So and they all have relative excuse doing it. So we're doing that, and then eventually the killer shows up, but he's in a clown costume like we talked about earlier, and he killed the turkey mascot guy, and then he went and he went to the police car that Gabby and her family was in, and he smoke bombed him and he took him on out of there. And this is actually when we get I'd probably say like the most craziest sequence of this movie is the whole mother or mother-in-law, the wife or the mother-in-law, being cooked in the oven, and how they build up to this. I thought that was pretty crazy. So they saw her the killer thinks she's still passed out from the whole tranquilizer because he shot him with all three of them with tranquilizers, and he's like putting like, was it like butter on her? He's putting like salt on her, like pepper on her.
Yeah, it's like
very like.
That's because he needs to season.
You got to season her, brother. Seasoning. And she kind of knows what's going on because she woke up. So she gets out of there. She hides. We have this suspenseful sequence of her trying to find her, and you think she's gonna get away. All right, and then she doesn't because she gets out of the door and everything is running, but then he takes a pitchfork and fucking pitchforks her in the back. Very Friday the 13th Part 2. I should say, which is actually another movie he actually took some inspiration from as well too. And this is when he puts her in the oven, and boy, that shit, this scene needed to happen, but that shit was crazy with her getting baked up and everything. And then of course he serves her, and he does a live stream of serving her to the family. And I thought this one was actually pretty creative too, Alison, where he put like the phone like in a warehouse, live streaming the video. You know what I mean? Like a screen. So that was pretty clever for like new age, like it's like a new age killer trick, which I thought was pretty clever. So, and then of course we get the whole dinner scene, which you had to do because this is like probably like a must in the film. Like it's very Texas. It's very Texas Chainsaw Massacre in a way. You know what I mean? You have all the family tied up. You know what I mean? He unreels the wife or the mother-in-law being cooked up. Her head's gone and stuff. Her head's on the table. Her body's on the table. We're doing some campy lines like no leftovers or it's very tasty. He goes into the cheerleader's neck and pours out some blood for like wine and stuff. I thought that part was pretty crazy too. And he's talking over, and there's another Facebook thing happening. So there's like two live streams at the same time going on. And he's cutting up to her thigh, which I don't know why. I thought that was really nasty. Even though the girl's already dead, she's already cooked, and then he starts like cutting her thigh, and he's gonna serve it to the fucking is going to serve it to the dad.
Well,
Thomas, right?
Yeah, it's gross. It's supposed to be nasty, right? It did its job.
So the way that this scene kind of like, so now the cops are trying to find it too. They're trying to like point out where the whole signal's coming from at this time. And so they try to, so Gabby actually gets away first because there's a ring that Mitch actually gives to her, and he not Mitch, but the rocker guy, he gives her like this lucky ring that has a knife on it, and that's how she cuts out of the rope. So she gets her out, she gets Gabby out, and then they fight a little bit with the killer, and that's how they actually escape. And then Gabby, this part was a little weird to me because I feel like maybe you can clue something in here on Alison. So they're fighting. They realize that they're in the Pilgrim house that was supposed to be for the commercial that the rights were trying to film. Okay, but it got destroyed.
Okay, yeah.
And the killer he pushes down Scrubs, right, and then he goes to run and get after Gabby, but Gabby escapes because she gets out of the fence. Okay,
right.
And then we have a cut, and then basically the cut was Gabby running to like, I don't know where she was running from, like a warehouse or something. Just a random warehouse that she was going to. And this is when she sees the sheriff on the floor. And it was already, said here that the police already got to the house and they released the dad and they got the Scrubs guy there too. So there's this whole big gap. So apparently the killer, after Gabby escaped, he just like disappeared. Okay. And I guess there's a reason for that, which we'll get to. So now Gabby, she goes into the warehouse, right? And she sees Bobby.
Wait, is that the very next scene?
Yeah. Like
so she goes into the warehouse.
Yeah, because
and then she sees the sheriff knocked out, and they get his gun.
No, yeah. So yeah, the sheriff is laying on the floor to this random warehouse. Okay. And I guess it was the warehouse. It was supposed to be the warehouse where they kept all the floats and shit. Okay. She was going back there.
Yeah.
And
right. It is. Yeah,
she sees she sees the sheriff Eric on the floor, and he said he got knocked out by the killer, and she took his gun and she went into the warehouse, but all she could see was Bobby in the warehouse. So then the sheriff wakes up. She's like, "Hey, Bobby's there, and I believe he's the killer now," because she's just putting two together. But I was just like, okay, well, how the hell did they get from the commercial storage house all the way to the float warehouse? It kind of happened a little fast for me. You know, I thought there should be like something right there in the middle.
I actually didn't notice that, but yeah. So it looks like there's something cut out there.
Yeah,
but I didn't remember that they were in the. I didn't remember that they were in the commercial house.
Yeah, that's the house.
The old house that
so like
was trashed.
Yeah, so the house that was trash made for the commercial is where the killer was. He set up his whole Thanksgiving dinner scene part there. It was in that actual house. Okay, so he's using it for his cover because after that commercial place got trashed, the Thomas was just like, I don't want to use this at all. Just like this, the whole thing has been ruined. So I thought that they set that on pretty well for this being a house of like, you know, nobody's monitoring. So that's how he got away with it.
So if that's the case, that was just right downtown though, wasn't it? So I mean
maybe it's close by.
Maybe maybe it's close by.
Yeah, but it's weird though because okay, so what we're about to find out, I'll say why it's kind of weird. So
no, there is something weird about it, but I can't tell you what it is without ruining something.
Yeah, well, we'll get there. We're almost there.
Yeah.
So the sheriff is saying to Gabby, is like, hey, you know, yeah, we figured out that it's probably Bobby being the killer. Don't worry about it. We got your dad. He's a little, you know, we got your dad. We picked up Scrubs from that cabin. He's a little out of it. They're both pretty out of it. But if you can like wait here, I'm gonna go search for Bobby and stuff. Okay. And then Gabby, she starts cleaning off her foot a little bit. She knows that she has some, you know, what do you call it? Pollen, kind of like a little pollen on her shoes and stuff.
You know, it's like these little flowers. They're not flowers, but what do you call those little things? It's not pollen, but it's like they're like little seed pods.
Yeah.
And they attach to things, and then they have little tufts at the top to make them float on the wind. Yeah, on the air. So like, and they attach to things so that they will carry the seeds somewhere else. But anyway, she sees that they're attached to her legs, and she got them when she was escaping from the house.
Exactly. And she also knows that they say it's Bobby's phone. That was the phone that was used inside the commercial place, was on the table too. All right, so they have that there as well. And then right before the sheriff leaves, she kind of looks down and she notices on the sheriff's foot has the same type of flower seed on there as well too. And she starts being like, well, wait a minute, you know. It's basically like, you know, the Scream moment. It's like, oh, wait a minute. And then, of course, the sheriff is like looking at her weird, like, is everything okay with you? She's like, yeah. And he's like, he's about to leave, but then he looks down. And he's like, if only it was a second earlier, I would have got you on that fucking gate. And she's like, whoa, what?
Doesn't he say, well, he's like, if you'd only been stuck on that fence a second or two longer.
Yeah, I would have got you. And then she closes the door. So now we figure out that the killer this whole time was Sheriff Eric Newland. All right. And he does his Scooby-Doo moment where he tells us why he was killing everybody. Okay. Which I thought was good. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, what it was he was he was basically sleeping around with Mitch Collins's wife, Amanda Collins. So, because at the beginning of the film, we saw, Sheriff Eric come in, say Happy Thanksgiving to Amanda at the front door, and they all came in and they were celebrating Thanksgiving all together, like they were good friends. And of course, Mitch, that's when he had to go to work and stuff. So he was saying that he was actually having an affair with Amanda the whole time, and he was going to have a kid with her until you kids came in there and ruined everything, and she got killed. So you killed my family on Thanksgiving, so I'm killing all of you on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, because apparently she was pregnant and she was going to have the sheriff's baby.
Yes. And she was going to leave Mitch and everything. They were going to start a life, but these bastard kids in their Black Friday sales killed everybody. So then we get the whole chase scene, fighting over. So the only thing I'm confused about is this, Alison. So let's go back to the gate scene where she gets out of the house and she gets caught in the gate and she leaves. And then the killer sees her and he just wanders away. So basically in the between of her running to the storage unit, the killer somehow grabbed Bobby or had Bobby with him, put him in the sheriff car, drove him all the way to this warehouse. But the thing is, when he got to the warehouse, Bobby escaped and he got out and he knocked down the sheriff. That's why the sheriff was out on the floor and he got into the warehouse. Because what the sheriff's plan was, he was going to use Bobby and Bobby's phone, apparently, to frame him and him being the John Carpenter killer. And they're going to blame everything on Bobby being the whole killer the whole time when it was secretly the sheriff. So that was just really quick. Like he did all that when she was just running down the forest, I guess.
Right, like it would made more sense if there was another scene where she went somewhere else first.
Yes, exactly.
And then showed up there and found the sheriff knocked out on the ground.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make any sense how the sheriff would be able to get there, get Bobby, get knocked out for all that to happen all at one time. Plus, why would none of that scene makes any sense? Because why would Bobby? Well, because it was booked that way. That's why it happened. But why would Bobby just run into the warehouse instead of
you got to run somewhere to hide. He's probably running in there to hide.
Oh, well, maybe you're right. You're probably right.
So they start fighting a little bit. Everything. Gabby's plan is to blow up a turkey. Okay, with some helium. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
While she's getting attacked, and she's about to get struck by the sheriff, but then of course Bobby comes in there, and they run. We have this whole chase scene. They eventually get onto Bobby's truck, his little he's kind of like a tow truck driver. All right, they get onto his truck. The hook gets attached. We see the killer coming up in a really cool moment. He's like, because the car got stuck on the little hook, he's about to come up there and chop him. But then she shoots him. She says, just like he does, "There will be no leftovers this Thanksgiving." So she blows up the place, the warehouse. We get the next scene. Cops was like, "We can't find the body because Eli Roth is trying to make this into a franchise," which he did say that he's trying to do that.
Absolutely, got to get Thanksgiving too.
Yeah, so they can't find that body. And then that's about it, pretty much. And then they go on their merry ways for another year, unless we get Thanksgiving 2.
We will. And then we'll get Thanksgiving 3, which will have nothing to do with Thanksgiving 2. It'll have no John Carver in it, but then they'll go back to 4.
That would be awesome, actually. Like if they did that, I'd be like, fuck yeah. Even though I heard Eli Roth, he's more of a Friday the 13th fan. So maybe we'll get a little more cocaine in our movies. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Maybe we'll get a little bit more naked skinny dipping and cocaine in our movies as they go. Okay. But
that's something that's sorely missed from movies these days. Naked skinny dipping and cocaine. We need way more of that.
Yeah, come on now, brother. Let's do it. But
everything's fentanyl and no naked.
What do you think it would be? It can't just be Thanksgiving 2, right? It has to be Thanksgiving 2. you forgot the cranberry sauce. You know what I mean? Something's fun. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
No ham
true.
this Thanksgiving, brother. Always turkey.
That's too long. That's too long. I don't know. I have to think of something.
Thanksgiving 3. The gravy is on us.
It's on us.
And then Thanksgiving 3, what it could be about, okay, is there's a German stuffing owner, okay, and he is releasing the stuffing out to all the kids for Thanksgiving. He has a commercial for them and everything, and this stuffing is actually made from pieces of Stonehenge, okay, and as the kids eat them, they turn into monsters, brother. Oh, if they made Thanksgiving 3 the Return of Cochrane, brother, let's do it.
Return of Cochrane.
All right,
that would be great.
It's like I failed. Cochrane's like
back for Thanksgiving 3.
Cochrane's like I failed on Halloween, but what about Thanksgiving, brother?
I will succeed this time.
I will succeed, unless you damn kids come after me. Oh, that'd be fucking fantastic. So, but yeah, everybody, that's been the lights out. Thanks for joining us for your Thanksgiving. Yeah. Hope you're all having some good turkey out there, some cranberry sauce, some stuffing, some mashed potatoes, some deviled eggs, some beer, some bread,
mac and cheese,
some candy yams, brother. Hope you all cooking this while you're listening to me and Alison talk all about Eli Roth's Thanksgiving. I love this movie. I thought it was great, and I hope they do one every year. You know what I mean? And just make it more cheesier as years go. Yeah. You know what I mean? Why not?
We could do a special on it every year, just like we did this one.
So, like, you know, like the first one could be serious and everything. You know what I mean? But then once we get to number 4, no rules. You know what I mean? Maybe you know what they should have? They should have
the foreign group come back.
They should have like a Mitch. You know what I mean? Be like the fucking like they should have like one survivor, right? Okay, how about in Thanksgiving 2, right? They have like one survivor. All right, who will come back in Thanksgiving 4 and just be batshit crazy like Donald Pleasence. It's like, he's back, brother. John Carpenter's back. And they're like, who the fuck is John? Brother, he's back. I shot him 4 times. I can't do 6 times because that was from Halloween, but I got him 4 times. And they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like, who's that? Maybe that kid over there is the descendant of the sheriff that was killed inside the room of Amanda. They saved her. Oh, there you go, brother. They saved the baby within Amanda. Okay?
Oh.
Brother, that's where it's going. Okay, check this out.
Writes itself.
Brother, it writes itself. Guys, Sheriff Eric's kid is still alive. Okay?
Yeah.
The fetus inside Amanda was already at the stage for it could be the birth. And when she died, they had a you know, what do you call that? An emergency, you know, get the baby out. And so the baby's okay. It's been in a cryo chamber this whole time. All right. And then the baby gets adopted by a family, right? But the baby has magic powers where she can have a link to the killer. And we don't know if Sheriff Peter, a.k.a. John Carpenter, is dead or not, but they have a psychic connection with each other. And the whole time is the killer, John Carpenter, is trying to kill a bunch of the town to get to his kid, okay? But before he can do, the kids and everybody kill John Carpenter, and the baby's okay. And then we have the kid at the end of the film kill one of the parents, and now she's the baddie of the franchise. Huh? There you go, brother.
Yeah.
Let's just rip off all the Halloweens and Jason films. Let's just do it.
All in one movie.
All in one movie, bro. Just lift them all off. Okay? Bro, I say let's do it. But everybody, join perfect. Perfect. All right. But everybody, if y'all like this, join us this Sunday for the Retro Blood as myself and Alison come back to the 80s. And we finish up our Werewolf month, which has been a very interesting month. Very, very dynamic, different movies. I think this is like one of the most dynamic months we have ever done. Of like, just like different movie styles. But come join us as we're talking all about probably one of the most famous werewolf movies of all time, The American Werewolf in London. So that's very fun.
Classic.
And of course, on that episode, we will be releasing our December catalog, which, boy, we got some fucking doozies on this show.
It's something this year.
Bruh, that's gonna be, you talk about explorative and like fucking 80s slasher, brother, we got some shit for you.
We got it.
So
yeah, we love our Christmas movies.
It's gonna be great shit, everybody. So join us, everybody. This is a very fun lights out. Hope we could do this every year if our boy Eli Roth gets all of them made in time and he actually does like a whole franchise. That would be super sweet. But everybody, for myself, Jame Kline, J, Alison, y'all are not gonna have any leftovers after this podcast.
Nope. I'm gonna eat them all. Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
I used to love this town. Until what happened that night. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving, and I'm tired of pretending like everything is normal when it's not.
I want things to go back to normal, too.
Show some enthusiasm. Thanksgiving is an institution here.
Someone's out for revenge, and they're turning it into a sick holiday game.
This is weird. We're all tagged, and our names are at the table. But why us?
The longer this goes, the more twisted it gets. The weapon he's using is straight off a Thanksgiving table.
I don't want to spend my life looking over my shoulder. We need to stop him.
It is going to be a very happy Thanksgiving.
Let's eat.